And we are live.
Hi there. Welcome to our Facebook Live. I'm Samantha Brown. This is Kevin O'Leary. And every Tuesday we love to get together with you, talk travel, as well as show an episode from our Emmy Award-winning travel series, Places to Love. We love to share it with you, our community, and then give you more of the inside scoop, the behind the scenes of the entire creative process, the pre-production, the post-production, how we chose the people we went with, just everything that goes on in filming a travel series that you don't get to see. You get to see the finished product, and there's so much that goes into it. So we are excited that this week we get to share with you a really amazing episode. It was our family's Alaska cruise, a multi-generational trip. 3 generations in age span of something like 65 years. Incredible, yeah. From our children to Kevin's parents. And speaking of Kevin's parents, we are in their home right now. We're here. This is a Facebook Live. We are on location. We've taken our Facebook Live on the road because it's our Christmas. We celebrate Christmas. And they have a beautiful home, as you can see. And I think the lighting is so much prettier than your home office that we are going to do it from here from now on.
Yep.
I love the warm light. I love the Christmas tree in the background. It's just so festive, and that's it. This is our backdrop from now on.
Yeah, I think it's good to be home.
Yeah.
We have a curfew, just so you know, that we have to abide by. But fortunately, there is drinks involved. We have a cocktail tonight that we fittingly, as we thought about Alaska and this cruise, and there's a lot to Alaska. But when I was I always have a special cocktail that we try to do. And turns out there's a really old classic cocktail called the Alaska.
Is that right?
Yeah,
and so
school.
How did you find that recipe? Because I always love to find out how Kevin just sort of researches. He spends a lot of time researching these cocktails just to make sure that they're authentic, they really come from a real place, and it's not just something he's making.
I Googled Alaska cocktail.
Wow.
And this came up.
That is the in-depth research that we really count on from the executive producer of a travel series. I Googled it.
Usually there's a lot more depth to that, but this one right away came up with an old school thing that there's lots of.
Are you like me where you have 3 readers because you never know when you're going to find one? Oh my gosh.
But anyway, so the Alaska is real simple. That's just really simple cocktail. It's 3 parts gin to 1 part yellow chartreuse, which is kind of hard to find these days.
Yellow chartreuse,
I had let my mother be a chartreuse mule and bring a half bottle across state borders when I saw her last in New York. So I knew that there was some chartreuse here, which is, again, really tough to find these days. It's they don't make as much of it globally, so it's hard to find, but we happen to have some, so we got that chilling right now.
We had a wonderful Christmas. I hope you did too, or whatever holiday you celebrate, whatever you do. I hope you're experiencing some time off. This is what's considered in the travel world as a dead week. Terrible name, but it's basically the time between December or Christmas and then January 1st, where not much is happening, right? And then after January 1st is another kind of dead week where no one's really traveling because everyone traveled so much. So I always find that this is a really great time just to relax. Don't do anything new. Don't do anything at all if you can't. It's just, 2023 has been kind of a strange year. A great year, but a little strange. And I think it's a great time just to relax. So I hope either you are all alone and relishing that time, or you're with friends and family just soaking up a lot of love, or just some great time. I'm going to do a little roll call, see who's in there. David Dean is in the house, our amazing editor, and David O'Leary, another great David. So many of our favorite people are named David. That's Kevin's brother, and his wife Terry just left today, so we missed them already because we got to spend Christmas with them. Meg Parsons is in the house. I hope you had an amazing Christmas as well. Let's see who else. Ann Whitehair McDaniel is saying cheers from San Marcos, California. Where is San Marcos? It sounds wonderful. David Dean is laughing time off.
That's funny.
I'm sorry because I literally just sent him notes to our Melbourne, Australia episode. So sorry. So here's to David.
Yep.
David, cheers. So this is the Alaska. Woo,
Alaska.
Chartreuse.
It's booze. It's boozy.
That just looks strong.
Oh, I mean, it's martini. There's no fruit juice in that. It's booze.
That's what happens when you're the 49th state. We're just going to put that way over there because I won't be able to pronounce Alaska at the end of this. Thomas Sui Happy holidays from Hawaii. Happy holidays, Maleki Leki Maka. To you. Jeff is in the house. Thank you, Jeff. It's Carmen San Diego and her loyal companion. Okay, everything's feeding so quickly. Sometimes I lose it. Allison Bentley, my friend is traveling to London from New Hampshire because her daughter's high school marching band from Londonderry was invited to march in the New Year's Eve parade, I guess.
That's
Wonderful.
great.
That's exciting. You were high school band was a huge deal
Yeah.
for you. You were full
Our
on.
big parade was, we did the Miss America parade in Atlantic City. That was our big one that we did.
Sheila Streff, Merry Christmas from Chicago. I wonder how Chicago is now with weather. Everything's been so mild. I hope you're having a mild winter, although I've heard from the Farmer's Almanac that we're going to get a lot of snow this Christmas and this year. Sorry, not Christmas. And I'm really excited for that because I love snow. Bring it on. Bring on the blizzards. I love it. I don't have a lot of travel coming up, so that's why.
Did you see David's comment here about drink enough Alaska cocktails and you'll be baked?
What?
That's
Drink enough. That's funny.
Cheers.
You're funny. Funny. Hello, Amanda Young Clark. Hello from Houston, Texas. Oh, Southern California. Okay, thank you very much. That is where San Marcos is. Wonderful. Happy holidays, Punky Annie. Happy holidays from the Rocket City. I assume that's Huntsville, Alabama, right? Is there any other Rocket City? Could there
No, that's
be?
definitely Huntsville.
Yeah, Huntsville, Alabama. Love Huntsville, Alabama. You guys are great people there. A lot of fun. Michael Robertson says, cheers from Lakeland, Florida. That sounds lovely. Lisa says, your tea adds a bit of festiveness. Yeah, festiveness. Yes, I'm drinking a little mint tea right now. I love it. But yeah, I like this. You know, when you go online, you can find those like cozy aesthetics, right? And it's these like fake, like computer generated pictures. And this is kind of it. I love it. Some travel things I think we should get to.
Yep.
It is wave season. It's really great that we're talking about cruises and cruising because it's wave season. I don't know if you know what that means, but basically this is when cruise lines basically put out all of their deals. Their special deals, their great cruise packages, and they're being launched right now for the 2024 season, maybe even 2025, because basically they want to fill their ships and they want to have a really good idea if their ships are full pretty early on in the year. So right, like January 1st sort of begins it. But I think deals have been happening already. But the wave season is basically a wave of special deals and great pricing from the cruise line. So this is a really great time to book a cruise as well. So we're going to show you our Alaska cruise, and then we are going to bring on some special guests, and they are very special. They are Kevin's parents. You will be seeing them in the Alaska cruise. So they are co-stars as well as our children, and we're going to bring them on, and you can ask them questions about the Alaska cruise as well as really cruising in general because they are cruisers. They've taken 10 cruises. In fact, they are planning to go on one now. January 5th, they leave from New York City to, they're going to stay with us.
No, they leave, they're flying
They're
from New
going
York.
to stay with us
Yeah.
and then fly that night to...
Well, they're stopping in Istanbul along the way to get to Singapore, and then the cruise goes from Singapore to Hong Kong.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So any questions you want to ask? I think I've been on, I don't know, I forget how many big cruises
Similar.
I've gone. Similar.
Yeah.
And so, generally, just if you have a question about cruising, what it's like, what we liked, what we might not like, anything, we're open to you. But we've got some really great guests. So if you have cruising in mind, if you've never done it, or maybe you've done a lot and you're thinking, well, what's that next cruise? Between Kevin and I, as well as Kevin's parents, who I should call Carolyn and Bob O'Leary. They
Yep.
have names. They're not just...
They're currently in the green room right now,
Yes.
just waiting to come on.
But cruising is a wonderful way. I think I've done quite a few of them. There's big time cruising, as I call it. I don't know if that's there's big time cruising, just the bigger cruise ships. And then there's river cruising, and Alma Waterways is one of our sponsors, and they just announced, this is really exciting news, they just announced the first time ever they're going to have a February cruising one along the Rhine, one along the Danube. And
Portugal too, right? Weren't they doing something in Portugal?
maybe, yeah, because it's
Yeah.
European. They have 3 European, that's right, 3 European, so that might be the third. But it takes place in February, so there's like Valentine's Day, and it's mostly wine tastings and that sort of thing. And let me tell you, again, I'm a huge winter fan, but I love the idea, one, of being in Europe, where there are no crowds, and there's no chance of heat waves. So it's going to be a little cold, but it's not going to be 98 degrees where in a place where no one has any air conditioning. Obviously, the river cruise ship does have air conditioning in the summer, so that's good. But I just love this idea of it being something cozy and relaxed, and you're not under this immense pressure to see everything you need to see, but you're in this beautiful locations, and you're just going from village to enchanted city to another enchanted village, and tasting the wines, enjoying a place where there are no crowds and the locals are absolutely more relaxed. So this is the first time, and when they announced it, I was like, can I do it? And we started getting the ball rolling. I can't, because that's actually our kids' school vacation, and we already have plans. But next year, I hope to be doing that February cruise, because I just think that's an amazing time to... 2025,
Yeah.
sorry, 2025. I would
But
love to be
speaking
doing
of
that.
next year and on the waterways, we have our announcement that we'll be, well, at least Samantha will be cruising July 28th on the upper Danube on her ship called the Alma Magna. And if you would like to join her for that cruise, it's 866-0126, and reference for your extra special discount for being a Samantha Brown fan. SB 2024 will get you a 20% discount in there. There's some sort of discount at 20% for the single berth SB 2024 solo. And that's for 2024, and then in 2025 we're doing lower Danube.
I'm
Yeah.
really excited about that one.
And that's June 15th. Same number to call. Different coach, SB 2025, gets a $750 discount. And then the same SB 2025 Solo gets that 20% supplement single discount as well. So, it's really exciting to be back, with Alma Waterways. They've been a great sponsor for us since we were season 0, because they signed up to be a sponsor before we'd ever filmed an episode. So it was, they've been with us since the beginning. And we're obviously huge fans of theirs, and can't wait to be back on board with them.
Yeah, I love it. Regina just says, I love cruising, have been on 13 cruises. So, of course, ask some questions, and Regina can answer as well. I think we all should just help each other. And if you want to put out a question about cruising and someone answers it, perfect. Jeff, Kevin's parents are currently in a soundproof room waiting to answer questions for invaluable
Click
prizes.
That, you can send it to the...
Oh, is that what I can do?
Just send
Oh,
it, yeah.
there. Oh, and then I put it up there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
Yeah.
Kevin has just given me power over the control board, because again, it's ground control to Major Tom here on this side.
Well, you're
So
the
thank
sober
you.
one, so it's okay.
I am the sober
Yeah.
one. Yeah. All right. Should we start the show again? This was filmed in July of 2022.
Yep.
Our twins were there, as well as Kevin's parents. So it was a really great multi-generational cruise trip, which I love. When it comes to the big cruises, the big cruise ships, I love it for a multi-generational trip.
And, technically, this isn't a big ship. This is a medium-sized ship.
That's right. It's a
Yeah,
medium ship.
because the big ships are like
It's a
5,000,
midship.
6,000 people. This has, I think, 2,000 or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
But yeah, so we filmed in the first week of July in 2022. The ship, Holland America, was our sponsor for last season, and they were lovely to work with, and helped us put this all together.
Yeah.
And we were on the Eurodam, which is one of their bigger ships. Their top
Newest.
class,
Was it?
bigger.
Oh no, we
class,
just went on
whatever.
their newest.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But had a great time, had great weather. So not only do we have our kids and my parents with us, but we also had our crew of 8.
Yep, crew of 8, absolutely.
And I was super fortunate in that I actually went the week before and did the whole cruise before that. So I did it two weeks in a row, and that was kind of a fun experience, doing the same cruise
He looped,
2 weeks in a row.
and people do that.
Yeah.
People do the exact same cruise, and they had a great point. They said, you're just so in awe of so many things that you actually miss a lot. So you're on one side of the ship, you're seeing one side of Glacier Bay of Alaska, and then you're missing the other side. So people just want to really absorb as much as they can and take it in. So Nora asked, what is the best time of year for the Alaska cruise? It's really the summer. So July and August are your prime times as well. Someone just wrote in saying that they went in September and it rained a lot. I think that is always a concern, rain no matter what time of year, because Alaska is just a different place in the world. We had beautiful sun, but so July and August is the best time where you're going to have most consistent and best weather. And then outside of that, it can get a little tricky.
Speaking of worlds colliding, our friend Sharon was with us on the cruise to Norway.
Oh, nice.
And she has been done an Alaska cruise twice and loved it. She was the who took the photograph for the cover of the AAA magazine.
Sharon, you're amazing. Did you see that? We gave you photo credit. Did we reach out to her?
Yeah, it's in the thing. Photo credit.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get started.
I'm taking a trip that is on everyone's must-do
People hear
list. One that is so good, with so many life-changing
hear it, but we don't hear it.
experiences, I couldn't possibly do it alone. Because if I did, I would never hear the end of it from these guys. I love this! So I brought the whole family and my in-laws as we plan to make up for the time that travel was put on hold.
The big one, Jeff.
And explore a majestic destination with a uniquely beautiful culture. I'm traveling with my family through the Inside Passage of Alaska. I'm Samantha Brown, and I've traveled all over this world. And I'm always looking to find the destinations, the experiences, and most importantly, the people who make us feel like we're really a part of a place. That's why I have a love of travel, and why these are my places to love.
Sorry about that. We had a bit of a technical snafu. So we're back. So we're back. Sorry, the headphones were working.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, Holland America sponsored this cruise or this episode this season.
Lovely. And I just would love for you to see, I think I put it up on my Instagram, just in my story, this whole production, all the gear that's here. Kevin brought it all. I did. Kevin transported all of this in our minivan from Brooklyn, New York to Delaware. And it's incredible. We've got everything. We've got lights. We've got mic stands, because he really wanted this to be a special occasion. We didn't want to feel like, well, I didn't care. I was like, let's just open up our laptop and go. Come on. But Kevin really does a lot to make sure that everything looks really professional and sounds great, because he really, cares. We care about this experience a lot. But yeah, so this was the Alaska Family Cruise. I think we had some others saying, Regina, I went in September also. It was cold, but not rainy. I think we all understand it's going to be cold. I think even in July. It
really wasn't that cold.
No, but we were told it could get cold, but it was probably 75, which was really nice. We really lucked out. Sherry Bycroft says, I went the first week of May, and it was fun, sunny, and 50 degrees. You said funny and 50 degrees, which I love. Everything could be funny and 50 degrees. It's sunny and 50 degrees. So we have a lot of people, Kevin, who took the Alaska cruise. We went in...
We're on.
Alaska's coastline is immense, and we're doing a small but phenomenal part by cruising the Inside Passage, exploring islands, cities, and towns that would be difficult, if not impossible, to navigate any way else. Like, for example, our first stop.
We're in Juneau, the capital of Alaska. Isn't that cool?
So what do we know about Juneau? Are there any roads that go into Juneau?
No, you have to get there by boat or plane. Only boat or plane.
Of course, that's not the only form of transportation up here. We're starting our time in Alaska jumping right in by trying the state's iconic sport, dog sledding. It's summer here, so there's no snow, but we can recreate the experience with some wheels. But before we get our chance to feel the thrill of adventure, first, we meet the puppies.
Oh, no.
Hi, guys.
Oh, my God.
We've got
some puppies here for you. This is the mama. Her name is Needles, and this is her second
These
litter.
are the ones that we're gonna play with?
Yes, there's 6 of them. We've got 4 boys,
How
2
close
girls.
can we get? Can we
You can
pet?
hold them, yes.
Oh, guys, I remember when you used to be this cute, and now you're not. This is yes, of course. Okay. Will they be a part of the same team then?
Yep, they will grow up all together as well with these guys here. And then they'll just have fun and try out for Robert's race team someday.
This is Robert's current race team. And this is Robert.
What is the hardest part about being in the Iditarod? This is a race that we've heard about our entire lives, and it's just so unfathomable to the rest of us. How many Iditarods have you raced in?
I've been in 5 Iditarods. Yeah.
Wow. Is it as grueling as they say it is?
The coldest I've seen is 58 below zero. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How do the dogs do in that?
Yeah, they didn't mind. The only one complaining was me. Yeah. I'm Robert Reddington. I'm a sled dog musher. I grew up in a mushing family. 3rd generation. If you win the Iditarod, you win an 80-pound bronze trophy of my grandfather, Joe Reddington Sr. He's known as the father of the Iditarod sled dog race. All right, here we go. Everyone's buckled up. Perfect. Ready? So coming up at the next intersection, I'm gonna give the dogs a right command. And yeah, they should turn right. Let's see here. Good. Yeah, it's very important. One of those dogs up front knows those commands. Yeah. One moment here. Jeep.
It's amazing, Robert. Your voice is so subtle when you're sending them signals. So they have, I guess, dog hearing, right?
Yep, they got great hearing. I was inspired by a champion who is known to whisper.
There will be no whispering from us.
How we all doing? Good?
This is the best summer ever! Yeah.
Jeez.
And this is just the first morning.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. And let me tell you, when we all showed up, it was like, oh yeah, I guess we're not going to be on like a real sled. There's no snow, so how do they recreate this or give us that feeling? Because that's what it's, you know, when you sign up for this excursion, which is a one that you want to sign up for immediately because it sells out really quickly. Like, well, I was kind of like, this might not be live up to any of the hype. And as soon as he went, we all took off. We were all like, whoa!
Yeah.
And it was on. It was just phenomenal, that feeling. Like, you did get that feeling of being on, because I have been on a dog sled a couple of times, and this was incredible. And just, I really liked working with him. And the fact that he just has to go zip, and they go, and all of a sudden you're going in another direction. I wish I had that control over my kids. Could just go, stop it, and they'll stop.
You know, I think one of the things people like when they tune into these Tuesday night live events is, you know, behind the scenes stuff. And this was a really tough thing to produce because we were filming in Alaska in July, their peak season. This is one of the top excursions people want to do. They were busy. Wasn't this July 4th? Yeah, this was on July 4th. And to the point we had to like make extra plans because there was a parade blocking off the route to get to the buses from the ship.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and it was a busy time, and they were very generous to give us 2 time slots. When usually it's like an hour, whatever it is, like you get 20 minutes on the dogs, 20 minutes with the puppies, 20 minutes doing like a history lesson about, you know, the kind of the Iditarod, and then you're back on the bus going because there's so much demand there. We got 2 of those time slots, but in the end we had, I think, 40 minutes or 30 minutes with the dogs and like 30 minutes with the puppies, and we usually take, you know, 4 hours to do a scene like that.
True. That's
and we
true.
did that in like an hour and a half, and it was a great scene.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was just, you know, but we were very nervous about this because we had very, very little room for error with any delays or anything that happened, that we would just have to go. And just this cruise was so perfect. The weather was great.
Yeah.
we had a great time.
We were really lucky, definitely really lucky. Oh, one funny story, when we walk into Juneau, we were doing some B-roll with the kids, and I had both Ellis and Elizabeth, and Brian, our DP at the time, as he is now, was doing a long lens shot of us coming through the crowds, kind of walking down the sidewalk. Now, I remember standing there with Elizabeth and Ellis, and I tell Ellis, like, okay, I see Brian. Ellis doesn't see Brian, and I say, we're going to walk down this sidewalk and just act normal. And as we're walking, Ellis goes, act normal? What does that even mean, act normal? I'm like, oh, I guess that would be too much to ask. I'm like, well, look around and see what everyone else is doing. We're just going to do that. But he was just so like, I don't even know what that means, act normal. My son was 8 at the time?
9?
Nine? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
And I think what we're going to see here is that we split up and did 2 things at once. So you were the kids filming that, and I was with my parents filming.
When we
the other
returned to
thing.
Juneau, our team wanted to separate. Bob and Carolyn wanted to unwind, so they went for oysters and champagne, while Kevin and I...
And I got to say, my mother hates oysters, and she ate that oyster on camera.
She did?
For us, yeah.
Wow.
She hates oysters.
Why couldn't she just
I
drink
didn't know
the
that.
champagne?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I know she likes champagne.
Wasn't until halfway through the scene that it came just the oyster.
I love oysters, but if you don't like oysters, I would not want
Yeah,
to eat
exactly.
one.
Yeah.
wanted us to explore something cultural, and we found it.
My name is Carla Castelucan. My Tlingit name is Katkun, and you are standing here in the Walter Soboloff Cultural Center. We really try to educate our visitors here about the connection that the Tlingit people, the Haida people, and the Tsimshian people have with our land.
These kids have been very excited about learning how to work with copper. We've been learning how the Tlingit are
Yes.
very creative.
Yes.
And they work with jewelry, and they
Yes.
make jewelry.
Yes, we make jewelry.
That's really beautiful. And I love the designs as
Yes.
well.
Yes, these are very old. These ones actually belong to my grandmother.
I'd like you to make me something very lovely like that. Can you do that?
We're only doing earrings and a pendant.
We'll make it nice.
The jewelry is based
That was-
on the Tana, which translates as copper shield
Dicey.
in Tlingit.
You always dull up the back and you polish the front, and the front looks twice as shiny then.
Donald Gregory explained that the Tana is traditionally a symbol of a clan's wealth and power, which the kids certainly needed to get this copper into shape.
And you use the soft mallet and you hit right on the center of that T.
Wow. What is this beautiful structure?
This is a clan house replica of a traditional home. It gives you an idea of what a traditional Tlingit clan house would have looked like if you had visited us in the 1700s.
Would it have been this large?
At least, yes.
In the 1700s?
Yes.
Obviously, art runs through the Tlingit tribe.
Yes.
How do you have time to be creative and have time to do your art when there's hunting and there's gathering and there's making of fires? When was there time to carve and paint and make something beautiful?
Oh, well, there's a name for that. It's called winter. When it's dark and cold, we had a lot of time to refine, and this form line artwork evolved over 4,000 years.
So as soon as you teach somebody else or tell them how it's done, then you feel your obligation to me as the teacher to the student.
Okay.
It's awesome. Thank you. You're welcome. Love it forever. Your handiwork.
Our day ended at the Gold Creek Salmon Bake, a place that really lives up to its name.
I found gold! What? I found gold! This is gold ore! This is gold ore! This is gold encrusted! Really? Nice! I found gold!
Awesome.
And I found salmon, which is cooked over an open elderwood fire. Ethelinda Zaprazella has been in charge of this grill for 6 years. As you can imagine, grilling Alaska's signature dish for 500 people every day is no small feat.
And it's just you? No one's on the other side helping?
No. Made me stronger, made me fit. My flaming torch of meltiness.
Kevin took the kids for s'mores, while Bob, Carolyn, and I enjoyed an uninterrupted meal. The rest is needed because tomorrow...
So I got to back up a little bit there because a little fun fact. In the background is a rival travel television show. And our friend Jonathan Thompson happened to be in
Kevin
Alaska
took the kids
at the same
for
time.
s'mores,
And,
while Bob, Carolyn, and I enjoyed an uninterrupted meal.
Yeah, so they had a great time being extras for us
Yeah,
while they
that's
were
right.
filming their own show
We did ask them to
in
do
Juneau.
that.
Yeah.
Oh yes, because when we got there, there's a huge crowd, and then they leave, and then that allows us to film a better scene because it's people coming in and out, and we're in people's way. I mean, there's like 100 people there, and then all of a sudden everyone was gone. We're like, well, we can't have try not to have that either. That's not a really good. So we're always kind of like balancing the, busy enough that it looks like people actually go there. And not busy that we're in their way or, well, they're in our way. But yeah, so
And his
he's
show's
great.
called Adventure Cities on Discovery Plus, I think.
Yeah, he's a love.
He's great
Yeah.
friend of ours, JT, Jonathan Thompson.
We've been friends with him for a long time. Yeah.
Great. But yeah, the cultural center, the Sealaska one, that was a really exciting find. They that program with the jewelry making,
It just started.
it
right?
just started.
Yeah.
It was actually they almost did it for us first.
Okay, that's right.
As a prototype, knowing that this show was going to be coming out in 6 months or
That's something
whatever.
they were doing, right?
But that was kind of a new building, and the real story was they had a bunch of copper sheeting left from the roof, and they were like, well, let's use
Yeah.
it for this. So
Yeah.
that was he was great. I mean, everything about that whole facility was great.
It's a beautiful facility, and that really is the size of one of their homes, and really getting that. For us, it's just so important to understand what First Nations, Alaska Natives, the Native Americans, whoever the Aboriginals, it's just who are the first people here, what is their story, and getting that out in a way that's that shows the integrity that they really exude. And so this center, obviously, it's going to be for a lot of the cruise ships and the people coming in, but it's done in such a beautiful way, and it is absolutely run, operated, and everything is through the Tlingit people and the other Alaska Natives that represent that. What is it? Southwest Alaska? Is that in terms of they're the coastal. They're the coastal Alaska Natives. So really, really beautiful center with a lot of hands-on activities.
And this facility here was great. I mean, what a great meal, and just being right by the river there, and the back by waterfall. I mean,
yeah, we got the coho salmon, right?
Yeah.
Or Russian River.
Yeah.
I forget what we got, but it was like the real deal.
it was called the Gold River or something. It wasn't the Russian. It was
That's true.
something. But but just I don't know, because I was there twice. I was there a week earlier, kind of seeing it, and because I was a little nervous. It sounded kind of touristy, and then I got there. I'm like, no, this is a really
it's
cool
really
place.
nice. Yeah,
it's a really nice place.
Great food.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people go in and out of there, but it's just the setting's wonderful and the food's great.
Yeah. And where you were, you could like hike around. You could hike around the river.
Yeah, there was an old mine that you couldn't go into it, but you could see the front. They boarded off mine and stuff. It was a cool spot.
Yeah, it was a great spot. I loved it. Yeah.
So we had a busy day in Juneau, and this is where the fact the sun doesn't set till 10 o'clock at night really helps us. That because people watch this to hear a little more about the shows. Is that we typically film for 4 days to do an episode, and the way that the cruise was set up is that we had really 2 full days available, and there was this one and then the one in Sitka. So we had to make them count to get as much content as we could, because the other ones were smaller scenes to kind of add on to that. So there was a lot of pressure on us to get a lot of great content, and in the end, what always happens with us is that it was so much, we had to cut so much out of things. I think my dad could have watched my mom eating oysters for for more than we did. But yeah, there was a whole scene with you walking with the kids we had to cut. That whole scene.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, that was a long day, and we put everyone through it.
Yeah, but we got great stuff. It was
did.
July 4th.
Yeah, exactly.
Rest is needed because tomorrow we are taking a trip to the Ice Ages, Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve, and we will be spending the next 9 hours seeing our continent's most wild and dynamic scenery.
So this national park is about the size of the state of Connecticut. So it's 3.3 million acres. It's really, really large space, and it butts up against several other national forests and wilderness preserves within Canada. And Together, it makes one of the largest protected areas of wilderness on the planet. My name is Colleen Culbertson, and I am an interpretive park ranger with the National Park Service here in Glacier Bay National Park. Most times when you think about a land locked in ice, you think of something that was thousands of years ago. Our glacial history here was only 250 years ago.
What? I mean, that's a blip.
A tiny little blip, yeah. So it's basically during the time of the Industrial Revolution, this was all completely under ice.
And then it retreated, and then it filled in with the water from the ocean?
Exactly. Yep.
Wow. We've arrived at Marjorie Glacier, which at 21 miles long is a showstopper.
What is that black in the area?
Ooh, that's a really good question. That basically is just dirty ice.
Oh, that's dirty ice.
It's covered with rock, sediment, stuff that's all broken off of the mountainside that it's grinding against. And this glacier does flow downhill between 6 to 8 feet a day. So its flow rate is pretty fast.
To actually be in this beautiful park for close to 9 hours and getting to see the processes of the earth in front of our eyes, it's so lovely because the world right now is so fast and you just want it to slow it down. The fact that we have these moments, you really relish them, you know.
Not only as a park ranger, but also sharing stewardship with the Hunachlinket, since this is their ancestral homeland. It's a blessing and a privilege for us to be here. It's really special. So coming from Colorado, I am kindred with the huge mountain peaks, the snowy mountain peaks in this national park.
Oh no! Oh my gosh! What? Oh my god! Wow!
Holy cow!
Wow! So this is a really powerful moment being here with you because you get to be here every single day and it still just gives you this sense of mystery and that this earth is a great place, right?
Yeah, even after 4 seasons, the power of this place is still just pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It's hard to put words to.
I love park rangers. They just believe so. She was so emotional, so caught up in the moment because as you can see, we were filming her AV, which is where we put the camera right on them and then they talked directly to the camera. And as that was happening, that big calving happened with the ice, and it was just in the moment, and it was so powerful. You could hear it, it shook, and it was just this really incredible moment.
Yeah, we I was really happy because we had, you saw the shot of the park ranger was Brian, and then when the being an awesome camera person, he immediately switched over to the action and got that movement from her to that. But we had 2 cameras, different focal lengths, both in slow motion on that glacier when it fell, and I was
really happy.
Very happy when that happened because usually it's like you're just setting it up. It's like
yeah.
Exactly. But it was like I was literally going crazy because we had 2 cameras, not 1, 2.
But once we enter the Glacier Bay, now we're in a national park and preserve, and how we're in the middle of basically nowhere. There are no roads in and out. And so you might wonder, well, how does a national park ranger then get on board? And there were 2 that day. One of them was giving the entire ship sort of a play-by-play of what was happening, and then we had her to ourselves. And again, we do this not just because to pull this like VIP stuff, but we really need to have someone just with us. We can't be listening to like a amplification of it or recording, and we want that personal, one-on-one connection with the park ranger. But so in any of these cases, and maybe if you've been on a cruise before, you've seen the pilot come on board, the pilot boat, do they call that? Yeah, because they're piloting me up. Yep. So in that same vein, like a boat just kind of comes out of nowhere and it comes right up on this, quite big, okay, maybe it's not the 6,000 passenger ships, but it's the 3,000, this big cruise ship. And then they just sort of like, not jump on board. There's like a little landing, but they do have to kind of move along with a moving cruise ship, get on board, and then they give their tours, and then they leave, which is pretty awesome when you think about it. But yeah, this was an amazing time, an amazing day.
Daniel and a few other people mentioned just about, is this a good thing that, we're celebrating seeing this calving? That I just got to say that certainly climate change is an issue around the world. No question about that at all. However, calving of glaciers is a natural phenomenon. They move and they end in the ocean for a reason, that these glaciers have to fall into the ocean at some point because they're moving, several feet a day with that kind of pressure that, it's not like this never happened before.
Yeah.
And it's a recent phenomenon. If you want to talk about recent phenomenons, Glacier Bay is only a couple hundred years old. It
Yeah.
was.
That's what that was
like
for
in
me.
17
wow.
something or 18 something,
Yeah.
up until then it was hunting grounds and
land.
it was land.
Yeah.
And then something, I forget the specific change that happened, but, basically it got filled in. And so now it's this bay, but it's not been there forever. That was a couple hundred years ago. But certainly I understand the concern about that, but
I agree.
It's not a recent thing.
That was in the show. We cut it, but it was like, is this something to celebrate? Because you're right, it does feel a little strange. But no, it's the natural life of a glacier.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we are not done for the day. We are here to absorb as much of the natural landscape as well as Alaska's incredible wildlife as we can. So we joined Captain Albert Howard to watch for humpback whales in Icy Strait.
How many whales do you think are in these waters right now?
I'm not sure. We saw 8 to 10 this morning.
Oh, right there, right there.
Always over there.
Right there.
Yeah.
You missed it.
And why are they here in Alaska at this time of year?
This time of the year, they're here for the food. They're here eating herring and building up everything they need to build up to go back to Hawaii.
And do they eat when they're in Hawaii, or they only eat?
No. They bulk up here and then they go to Hawaii.
And you yourself are clean cut.
Yeah, yep, full-blooded.
When you look at this landscape, for me, it's unlike anything on Earth. And I've been to a lot of places on Earth.
Growing up here, I didn't appreciate it till I joined the Army and came back. And seeing the other part of the world called a desert, coming home, hearing our songs. Yeah, that was our language. That's been part of our history for centuries. Those songs are still the same.
That's the end of the scene, right? Yeah. I'd say one of the more dramatic things as you leave port. Now you mentioned this was a Holland America ship that we left from Seattle. I didn't mention that earlier. It was the Eurodam. That's the name of the ship. Then we left from Seattle, and as we left Seattle, we spent a full day at sea going up to Juneau as our first stop, and slowly over time, if you just kept looking out the side windows, the front windows, you start seeing those plumes of the air as the whales start breathing, and they're not everywhere, but then it kind of builds this idea that we're going to Alaska, that the whales are there, and they weren't in Seattle. We didn't see it. It was once we left Seattle and started going up the coast that we saw more and more whales, and it was just this really nice way of kind of getting you excited about getting to Alaska. As these whales were just all over the ocean, and you see it. You see those plumes of breath. I guess that's what it is. Yeah, that was a great day with them.
Day 3 begins for us with a stop at the island community of Sitka, and specifically to the Sitka National Historical Park. It was designated a national monument in 1910, primarily to protect the native totem poles.
Totem poles, or kutias in our language, there are ones that tell stories. There are ones that are used as mortuary poles. It's really fitting that we have totem poles because we live in this beautiful old growth forest. And I can't think of a more beautiful way to use nature in order to tell our history, to tell our stories, and to establish who we are on this beautiful land. My Tlingit name is Kashichtla. I am Kiksadi. We use the frog as an emblem. My English name is Louise Brady.
Now, why does this totem pole stand out in the middle?
This is where the Kiksadi, my clan, fought the Russians in 1804. The kutia that you see here was raised to memorialize. It's a memorial for the Kiksadi people who died right here where we're standing.
Right here, so this
The
is
fight
sacred
against-
ground.
It is absolutely sacred ground.
This pole was actually created fairly recently by this man, Tommy Joseph, a Tlingit master carver. And while I stayed to talk with Louise, the rest of the family went to watch him at work.
I actually, in the 3rd grade, had my first opportunity to work with a knife on a piece of wood, 8 years old. Our people were here before the trees were here, and so the trees had to grow up. I mean, when the glaciers receded and the land rose and the forests grew, it took time, and so we were here before that.
So when I look at a totem pole, all I can do is really marvel at the creativity and the beauty and sort of the power that's emanating from it. But you can actually read it. It's communicating something.
Yes.
So how do you read a totem pole?
You read it from the top to the bottom.
Top to the bottom?
Yes.
Okay.
But context is always important. So you have to know that this is where the fort is. You have to know the history of the people of the land, the fact that we've been here for, 5,000 to 10,000 years, and why it became important for us to fight this battle, right? So,
And that's all in this pole
yes,
right here.
our ancestors, no matter where you're from, you're here because of what your ancestors did for you. And I think we all need to remember that.
You're still standing.
Yes, exactly. We're still Tlingit. We're still a living culture. We're still evolving, and we are still celebrating each other.
That's a really powerful point in our show, and I can't tell you how much Louise's words resonate with me as we put together any of these shows where we're talking with anyone who is Aboriginal or Alaska Native or Native American. And it was really interesting. One thing that you didn't see in the scene is that we're at that memorial pole, and I asked her, how to read the pole, and then I'm like, well, what does the pole say? And she said, I can't tell you because this isn't my clan. It's a different clan. And therefore, I don't have, essentially what she's saying is I really don't have a right to interpret what it says. Even though I can tell what it says, it is not my job or my role. It is not okay that I then kind of tell you what it is. And that's always stayed with me as we do this show and find the people we find, that who gets to tell their story and who gets to tell the story, and is it from the group, or is it an outsider then putting their perspective on it? And we come to this time and time again with any sort of Aboriginal people. They are very cautious about telling another people's story. They're firm about theirs, and even though they know other people's history or story or even context, they still feel like that is not what their role is. That is not their job isn't the right word, but and I always loved that. I thought that really stayed with me, how she knew that you read it top to bottom and it's all in context, but she wouldn't say the fox means this and this is it and then this tells the story of that, because it's not her story to tell. So I think those are really important points. And then when Tommy says that his people were here before the trees, I mean, that really just to me was so incredible. We really lucked out with him being there. Being there, we didn't know, and when he was there that day, we were like, "Can we put you on camera doing this?" And he was like, "Of course." So it was just happenstance, wonderful happenstance, and we just knew, man, we could have done an entire scene show just on Tommy. He's a master carver of totem poles. It's a pretty incredible person.
And I think that montage at the end just so when I saw that the first time, I was like, wow, it's beautiful. Just letting that. I think that's one of the things we love to do the most, and it's been part of this show since the first episode. But it's something we've tried to be more and more cognizant and try to give room for, is to let the people we're talking to tell their own story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not our role to tell the story for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so letting her say those beautiful words, kind of representing everyone there. Just, you know, it was a beautiful thing. I had both the time that I was there scouting it and as well as the episode filming it. It was just, it's a real privilege to be able to spend time there.
I agree. All right.
Sitka is located on Crescent Bay, and a 3-minute walk from the historical park brings you to where science, culture, and nature meet.
The Science Center mission is science research and science education. So everything we do relates to those two things.
And for people to do that, you not only have the aquarium that you can interact with, you can come right outside to your tidal flats here.
Exactly.
And there's just a myriad of ways to really hone those skills of observation and understand why.
So if you want to pick something up, that's totally okay, but just make sure you have your hands like this and that they're low to the ground.
Cute.
That's a purple shore crab.
We want people to be able to validate and think critically and innovate and observe the natural world.
See this right here? This is a grainy hand hermit crab.
I have a scientific question.
Yeah.
If the hermit crabs are all living together, are they really hermit crabs? So what is that?
This is called a sea lemon. We don't want to poke hard, so just barely, just touch. And this is a sea slug that eats sponges. So all those purple sponges and the crumb of bread sponge that we saw earlier, that's what they eat.
So a part of the Science Center is actually a hatchery that helps produce more salmon for the world.
So right now there are almost 80,000 fish in here. Yeah. And as they grow, all of these empty ponds that are surrounding us, we'll spread them out and give them more room as they grow.
And now this is not a farm, right?
No,
farming
this is a
salmon
hatchery.
is not legal in Alaska.
Yeah, with farms you would raise the fish up until market size or up until they're full adults and then sell it right to a market. But a hatchery is very different. We just get them through the most vulnerable stage of their life cycle, which is their freshwater life cycle. And then we send them out into the ocean when they're ready to go out to saltwater. And they kind of do the work from there. So we don't exclude the fishermen from the equation.
That's fascinating that you're really thinking about the fishermen as well as the salmon in this process here.
Well, in Alaska, culturally, fishing is a major, major part of the culture around here. So
you work together.
Yeah, we really do.
With crabs and salmon fishing on our minds, we knew what we'd do on our last day in Alaska.
It's interesting, the fishing, the salmon story in Alaska. And we did a show in Ireland. We featured a few weeks ago, and there's they allow farming all the way up to market, which is what she said they don't do there. But I think the issue with salmon is that these salmon are all spawned in the little rivers from all over the coastline. They make it out to the ocean, and they live their lives in the ocean, and then make their way back to the streams. What happens is that these commercial fishing boats just suck them all up in the ocean. So none of them make it back to the streams anymore. So to preserve that, there's different ways about it. And in Alaska, they seed the streams now like that to put them back in the stream so that they can go out and kind of continue on. But in Ireland, you saw salmon farms everywhere, and it was these big, huge nets in the water, and they were, they were raising those fish to be sold, all the way to market. Because if you didn't do anything, there'd be no salmon.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate reality.
Seafood is king in Ketchikan, and so we decided to split up and go on 2 different adventures by boat. Carolyn, Elizabeth, and I boarded the Aleutian Ballad to learn about crab fishing, what's been called the most dangerous job in the world, while Kevin took Ellis and Bob out to actually catch salmon. Hopefully.
So what are we fishing for today?
Primarily pink salmon, silver salmon, and possibly a king salmon right now. All right, any questions?
No.
Most of the passengers on this excursion have seen the thrilling reality show, The Deadliest Catch. And while this crab boat won't be heading out into the Bering Sea, thankfully, what we learn here in the Inside Passage is how fishermen like these handle this challenging and dangerous job every day in a personal and hands-on way that no museum could capture.
This is a snow crab, or a barred-eye crab.
To hold these, we'll want to hold them like a bicycle handlebar, because they will reach around, and every once in a while we hear a scream. So hopefully we won't hear that.
You want that one?
This is cousin to the king crab.
Yeah. All right, come on, Graham.
And then a snow crab. You want to hold him out like this gently. Don't grab it too hard. Just gently. Yeah, because these are the business end right
All right,
here.
that's the business.
Yeah.
All right, okay, guys. Show me your crabs. Elizabeth was a little bit of a crab this morning. Now she's holding one.
We're going to get ready to set because we got lots to show you guys here.
And then we're going to drag them around. We're going to put 2 on each side. So there'll be 1 deep rod and 1 shallower rod. And then once we find out what depth they're biting at, then we can kind of zero in on them a little bit.
Because if we don't catch a fish, Elizabeth is never going to let us
If we
forget.
don't catch fish, we have to go buy one.
It's me like,
Yeah.
There's 3. Oh my God, there's like 20 of them. Wow. That's amazing. I bet you Ellis is so miserable right now.
That's a big one.
All right.
Not quite. In fact, Ellis caught the first and largest fish of the day. Just when you think you know your kid, Alaska proves you wrong.
All right.
what is it?
It's a pink salmon.
Pink salmon. All right.
Got our first catch of the day. Here, let me get the hook out, buddy. Watch your head there. Yep. There you go.
Good job, buddy. Your first salmon. All right. All right. Okay.
This experience is not a reenactment. You really put us on an authentic fishing boat and show us what it's like to go through the different types of fishing. And then to have the stories on top of that. I mean, I don't think anyone thought they were going to come here and cry.
It's blowing 35, 12, 15-foot seas. I'm leaning over. I go down to the next pot, and a wave hit me and knocked me off the boat. My boots started filling with water, so I was going to kick them off, and there goes my boat.
He starts tearing up because he knows how close he was to going down. You're hardly getting any air when that wave hits you. So the conditions that we fish under, brutal.
I want to thank you guys for, being with us and listening to our stories. Thank you very much.
For our final night,
Yeah, I loved our Ketchikan scenes because we really showed 2 very different experiences that you can have while there. And one was that tour with the Deadliest Catch and the crew, and it was really phenomenal. I didn't know what to expect, but it was really an emotional excursion. And they, they go through the stories. They tell you how they catch. Each one of them then stands up and gives you a personal tale from their own lives and their livelihoods, and you just get a really powerful experience that you just weren't expecting. You're like, oh, we're just going to go up and it's going to be kind of entertaining, and it was deeply personal. And then the 3 of you had this really just intimate, just three men on a boat, fishing for salmon, and just that's the beauty. I think that's the beauty of Alaska. It's phenomenally dramatic and yet deeply personal and intimate at the same time. So it's big and small in one moment.
And I think we had 5 hours in Ketchikan. I think that was it was 4 or 5.
Yeah,
And we were, so we split up, obviously, and our kind of third camera guy, Thomas, came with us, and we had the 2 bigger cameras with Sam and that crew. There's more to film there. And we actually we were starting to get nervous because we had gone all the spots and didn't catch anything, and he kept saying at some point we're just going to give up and switch to catching rockfish, which I guess are super easy to catch but aren't too great to eat. And then bang, Ellis caught his, and then shortly after I got one and my dad got one, and so we got 3 pink salmon, which weren't the premier salmon, but they tasted great in this scene. I mean, you wouldn't know it.
Man,
You wouldn't know it.
Let's go to the scene.
Yeah, but it was a wonderful time, you know.
We will be on board for a memorable meal shared together.
I'll just take the cherry.
No!
On the menu is the catch of the day, supplied by Ellis.
Who did all the catching? Who did the fishing? You? Wow.
I caught the biggest salmon.
How big was it?
It was like,
Whoa.
That was around 7 pounds of salmon, you know.
Is that what he caught? A
Yeah.
7-pound salmon? Ellis.
and Ellis doesn't even like sand. I'll eat yours.
Thanks, Elizabeth. How many crabs did you catch today, Elizabeth?
Carolyn held a crab like it was a motorcycle.
I was afraid it might pinch me.
My first favorite was obviously the salmon fishing. Second favorite, coppersmith. And third favorite, the puppies. They were absolutely adorable.
I think for me, seeing that glacier cab.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, right. So unexpected, exactly.
We saw so many things.
We've seen eagles and mountains and Alaskan huskies. And we've talked to people who, this is their land. They've been here for thousands of years.
This is a big state, and we've only seen this one section, and it's...
We've seen this much, and then the rest of Alaska is like your salmon, Ellis. It's this big, and we saw that.
I think we need to come back.
Oh, absolutely.
When a destination helps strengthen the bonds of family, when it reinforces your own sense of self, when memories of one trip will last years, decades, that is when we share a love of travel. And that's why the Inside Passage of Alaska gives us so many places to love. For more information.
All right, that was great. It was wonderful seeing that again. Our kids were younger.
Yeah.
It was a great trip. It was a really wonderful trip, and I always liked big time cruising for
Big time.
big time for multi-generational trips, because there's just such a an age difference, and yet everyone has a lovely time. And you don't spend a lot of time creating this infrastructure of a vacation. You're just in it. It's already provided for you, and you just kind of plug in here and there. What you want to do and where you want to meet up. And
Our friend Jeff made a kind of poignant comment. Oh, so your home movies are basically broadcast quality.
it's true.
Which is very true.
It's true. Yeah. I have. It's funny because sometimes I'll critique people, other travelers, and maybe people online. Like, stop taking pictures and just enjoy your trip. And that's easy for you to say. Like, I have like a professional team making sure that all of my travel memories are just not only well shot but edited perfectly. So point taken. But yeah, it was a really special trip. We are still talking about it. We still love it. And I think someone made a comment about just being in port, on the port for, individually ports for just like 4 or 5 hours at a time. And was that too short? I never felt rushed. I really didn't. There are times when I've been in Europe and I felt like, oh my gosh, we got to get back on. We're only here for 7 hours and it's, I don't know, it's Florence. How can we do that? But, Alaska, it's just, it's more intense, but you feel that intensity and you feel like you've done it all. I feel like that. Because you're really just going to do a few things. Alaska's it's like all about outdoor adventure. So it's not like, oh, let's go to the museum or should we have this really nice meal? It's like, no, you're going to do this thing that you can only do in Alaska and you're going to do it here. And so, so you do that and it's really easy to choose the excursions that you do. Our trip was not all-inclusive. Certain parts of it are, like when you buy a cruise, usually you have your room and board, right? And board is meals, I guess, in that sense. And you get 3 meals a day, you get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then alcohol is extra. Specialty drinks like cappuccinos are extra. The excursions are extra. So it's somewhat inclusive, but not totally all-inclusive.
Yeah, and I think this is where, different cruise lines, different how they differentiate themselves. I know, like, on the waterways, when they're doing a river cruise in Europe, the maybe with a few exceptions, but in general, the excursions are included. That's just the way that they operate. And they include, like, drinks at dinner and happy hour, that kind of stuff. And at some point, you got to pay for your drinks, but in general... But, just every cruise line is a little different on how they handle that. But, someone made a comment about going up to the Mendenhall Glacier when we were doing the dog sledding thing. and there we go. It was Lisa Barrows Smith. Yeah, so with Holland America, they had it was something like a 75-page document of all the different excursions that were available across the entire cruise, and there were options that we looked at first to potentially go up in helicopters to the glacier to actually do sledding on snow with dogs there, but with a crew of 8 and 6 cast, it was just with all our gear and stuff, it was just impossible to do that. But it's just these are the options you have. So we went with the honestly thinking that it wouldn't be as good as the Mendenhall version, but it was amazing. Like it was honestly maybe better just because you weren't in the cold and freezing. It was a little more comfortable, and you really got to talk to them and then see the dogs and stuff. It was. That was fun.
We should bring our special guests.
Yeah, we should bring our special guests. All right, hold on. Let's call it green room.
We're bringing them out of the deprivation chamber, so they knew nothing that happened.
Drinking stale coffee ever since. That's Bob O'Leary, my mother, Carolyn O'Leary, my father, Bob O'Leary.
I got my glass.
I'll make another round of drinks.
Here, Carolyn. So these are my amazing in-laws, and let me tell you, I absolutely won the lottery when it came to having these two in my life.
We won the lottery.
Yeah. They are amazing. They're wonderful on camera. Bob O'Leary's actually been on a few of our shows. He was in our Alma Waterways Rhine.
True.
He's done a special appearance there as well when we had to eat some charcuterie.
True.
You rose to the challenge there.
I was on National Geographic recently.
He was on National Geographic. It's not just our productions as well. So he goes to competitors apparently, and because he has a really nice resume. But so we bring them with us because they are avid travelers, very well traveled. And our kids adore them and listen to them more than they listen to us. So they're incredible child care as well. When Kevin and I were like, okay, we need to, can you just take the kids while we get this done? But you are planning your 10th cruise. How did you enjoy the Alaska cruise? Because this was your first time to Alaska with the cruise.
Alaska had what I'm always looking for, and that's surprises. Every trip we take, I always look for a surprise somewhere. And Alaska, the calving of the that was just unbelievable. That was a big surprise. And everything else was, kind of expected how we did it, but surprises are always. You talked about the Danube. We did that cruise a number of years ago, and the surprise was Budapest. We didn't really know much about Budapest, so that was our surprise. So it's always surprises on these trips, and that's what I look forward.
And this was, what did you like most about it?
Well, I love cruising in general, so to me, I loved the days at sea, on the ship. I loved the excursions. I thought they were wonderful. The wildlife, the eagles that we saw, the crab I held.
She ate an oyster and
I ate an oyster. I took one
you
for
got
the
off
team.
easy. We're raising your rates.
Anyway, we love cruising. We loved, what I loved is that you unpack once and your hotel goes with you. And so you get to a lot of destinations and you have fun on the ship along the way. But it was a fabulous cruise, and it was wonderful to share it with the generation below us and the generation below that, and to watch the children just thrive with all the experiences they had. It was wonderful.
I really feel like Alaska, because this wasn't my first time there, but it's not of this earth, right? And you don't even, clearly we're in America, and yet you just feel like you're in a different place entirely, where everything from the mountains to the water, it just looks and feels different. So the feeling, I think, of being in Alaska really lives up to its reputation. And this is an Alaskan cruise is the itinerary that most people want to go on. These cruise itineraries, the ships do fill up faster than most everyone, because everyone wants to see. This really is one of the prime way of seeing this state, because so much of it is inaccessible by car. So you really need to see what we saw. You do need to be on a boat. We were in the inside passage or inner passage? Inside passage.
And someone asked if we did the train, or if anyone had done a train. There's an add-on that a lot of the cruise lines have, that you can take a train up to Denali National Park and spend time in a lodge there, and we just didn't have the time to do that, to be honest. But that's a whole other thing. We get more in the interior of Alaska. That, you know, I think the next time we go to Alaska, maybe we'll try to do more of the interior, because I know, being in the travel industry, I go to a lot of conferences and meet a lot of people, and I've had several conversations with the people at Fairbanks. And Fairbanks has some amazing things.
Okay.
Yeah, and Anchorage has got some fun stuff.
Anchorage's great,
there's just a lot of great other things in Alaska besides this coastline. But I feel like this is the prime kind of tourism hits.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to Alaska first, this is certainly the best way to hit the first bit of it.
It was a great itinerary as far as I was concerned. I thought it was just fabulous.
If anyone has any questions for really well-seasoned cruisers right here, again, you're about to go on your Asia cruise, which you've been planning since pre-COVID, right? That knocked you out of that one. You're finally making your...
we've planned. This is the third time that we've planned it. We had to cancel it twice because of COVID, so we're hoping we really get to go this time. I think we will. We're within We're within a couple of weeks of departure.
Last year you went to
South America and Antarctica.
Now that was a surprise.
And
you love that.
Antarctica was it's awe-inspiring.
Yes. All right.
It's something that only a handful of people in the history of mankind have ever been to. They kept emphasizing that, and that was. Now, more and more cruises are going there, but they told us that the Antarctic Federation, or whatever it is, through the UN, is thinking of cutting back on the number of cruise ships that go in, just for pollution issues and stuff. So that was an eye-opener.
And I think, in a similar way, if there's a corresponding kind of line in Alaska, would be Glacier Bay, because there's only a certain number of cruise ships allowed in every day. And with that, if you're lucky, you get in. If you're unlucky, your ship doesn't. But it's not like every ship gets to do that. So it's getting into Glacier Bay and being up close to these glaciers and seeing it. And then we were on that at the what was it, the Marjorie Glacier?
Oh,
Marjorie.
Yeah, the ship was kind of on the one side, and then it literally spun around, so the other side got to see it as well. But it's kind of fleeting that the weather, they might not let the ships in. There's
true.
I think someone asked, Nora asked, when the best time of year to go to Alaska is, and I think certainly July and August is a prime time to be there, but I think. It's all fleeting, because you might be there and it's raining really heavily and cold, or in our case, it was pretty warm, right?
Yeah.
We got lucky. It was like 75, 80 degrees one of the days, right? So
it was nice. It was really nice.
Certainly the day we were on the Glacier Bay was cooler. It was,
Okay. I'm going to send this one. I'd like to know what your favorite cruise line is and why. You've been on so many different cruise lines.
And they're not sponsored by anybody.
I feel like we should not answer that.
Well,
Please do. No, absolutely.
There's a tier. I believe there's 3 tiers on cruise ships.
Okay.
They're those smaller, very expensive ones that you get a lot, and they go in places that the other ones. Then there's some that, the booze cruise ones, as they used to call it, in the Caribbean.
They still
mostly.
do.
Right.
They still do.
But then, if you talk, Holland America, Princess, Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, and of course, that's that class of value and quality. So I'd say those are the good ones. And then you have the AMA Waterways, which is a total different experience.
Excellent.
That's total relaxation. That's you're with 180 people versus 2,000. So
Yeah.
it's a different experience.
Well said. Yeah.
I love them all, actually. I love every cruise I've ever taken, and but it is true. I think I prefer the longer cruises, and with wonderful destinations that you can really learn about before you go and enjoy when you're there, and then have fantastic memories.
And the other thing that we have always traveled with friends or family. We have never gone by ourselves. Not that there would be a problem, but to us, it works out well.
Yeah.
This trip we're taking will be with two other couples that we've known for years and we've traveled with before. That makes it, I think, a little more enjoyable. Of course, the Alaska trip was a family trip. So, but there are people that like to travel and meet new people.
Yeah.
So,
Do you always, because you do a lot of the excursions, but I know you do a lot of planning on your own, especially when you have to arrive at a destination, you're departing from a destination that's really because I think you were sailing out of Chile? Your last cruise.
Yes.
Or,
Valparaiso.
But weren't you in Buenos Aires? And so you kind of planned your own thing there. And so you did that without a travel guide or without a travel agent. You kind of did that on your own. How do you do that?
Yeah, so the internet is a great tool, and we do have a trusted travel agent who makes our reservations with the cruise line.
All right.
But then after that, we like to do private tours. And we also like to arrive in a destination a few days in advance before we get on the ship, and also stay in our final destination, which was Buenos Aires this last time, a few days afterwards. But we go through TripAdvisor is a good one, Viator.
And I hear a lot about Viator.
What I like is you can read about the itinerary, and then you can read reviews. And that's how we make the decision. But when we can, we love to have a private tour.
Yes.
And each couple pays their share. But it's just a little bit different experience, and you learn a lot more about where you are, I think, when you're really interacting with an individual who is from that area. And almost all of them do what they do because they love their city and they want to share it with people.
So with Singapore, the cruise you're doing in a few weeks is from Singapore to Hong Kong. How many days are you getting early in Singapore?
We're going to be there 3 days
So
early.
3 full days early to
Right.
get on the ship.
Yes.
And then you arrive in Hong Kong, and how many days are you spending there?
We'll be in Hong Kong 2.5 days.
Great.
So,
Nice. That's really nice.
and we have tours lined up in each place. And we're going there by way of Istanbul just because we can, because we want to go there, and we have tours lined up in Istanbul.
Oh,
too.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Oh, lovely.
so we're very excited
Yeah.
about it.
And how long are you going to be gone for?
We'll be gone about 3.5 weeks, and the cruise is 12 nights, I think. So it's
Thailand, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, number of stops, and then ends up in Hong Kong. End of January.
When you get
That's great.
sick of each other, what do you do?
well,
And that's why they had the martini bar.
The big boat's nice for that.
That's right, exactly.
The big time cruising boat.
I love the days at sea because you can usually stake out a place on the ship if you want to take a book and read. You can walk. You can get exercise up on the top deck. Usually, they all have pools and great service.
Yep.
And
So Michael
all
Nel-
else fails, you have a drink.
Michael Nelson just asked, if cost wasn't an issue, would you live on a cruise ship?
Oh, I totally would.
I would probably want a bigger room. 2 cruises we've taken are the repositioning cruises.
Oh, wow. Oh,
and
that's the...
They are.
Whoa.
The 2 came out of Miami and Fort Lauderdale area, across the Atlantic to Europe, to the Mediterranean.
sure.
So we had 6 days or so straight of at sea time. And those were great.
You like those?
It's, you know, it's.
It
you're in
didn't
a
feel
third-
weird. It didn't feel like, you know, there's, because it's not a full ship, right?
No, and it's also not full price.
Well said.
The ships, the repositioning cruise, what they're doing, they're taking
Yes,
the boats from
yep.
the Caribbean at the end of the winter and moving them to
Europe,
to,
right.
to Europe.
Mhm,
So
yep.
you get on them, they're not full, and they are per day cost.
Right.
Significantly, although more and more people have found out about
Exactly,
them. So, but
yeah.
they're very relaxing. And then you hit ports before you get to the
Oh,
end.
you do hit ports.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
you know, Portugal and Spain and France, and then
I've
wind up
seen
maybe in
yourself
Rome.
on the
Do you see yourself? We have another
We have a special guest.
co-star of the Alaska cruise, and that is Ellis O'Leary.
Hi.
Do you remember what your favorite memories of the Alaska cruise were?
It has to be the tide pool visit thing. That was my favorite.
That's what you're thinking about now, yeah, because you got to like feel little sea creatures and hold, and you were so gentle, Ellis. As I was watching that, I just thought, oh my gosh, you're such a gentle soul. You really treated them with respect. It's time for Ben.
Wait, is he actually going to bed?
I don't know. I can't believe that just worked.
No, he's not.
And he's back.
He's
no,
back.
No. Bye, sweetheart. But it was. I love your experience because you do have a lot of great experience cruising, and you really have enjoyed it no matter where you've gone, and you guys have gone far, and you've done all different types of lines, and you like how big is the biggest cruise did you take in terms of people?
I
2,000.
about 2,000. I think
so you keep it low.
the princess.
That's not low. That's not- that's not-
Another star of
I
a
think
brilliant show.
I think the Rotterdam that we were
Yeah.
on, it was probably the
in
biggest.
Norway?
Alice, I had a question
was
for
the
you.
biggest,
Norway.
biggest ship. I
There were
think.
quite a few people on the South American trip. It was a big ship, maybe 1,800, 2,000. But then you segue into the river cruises. It's 150 and 200.
I love
And
those.
very intimate,
Yeah.
and you're right downtown. That's another thing, is you don't have to take a bus anywhere.
That's true.
You
Yeah,
pull
yeah.
into the town, even big cities like Cologne and Vienna and Budapest, you're right there.
You're right there. You walk
So-
off the boat.
Elizabeth just came in.
All right,
and,
Elizabeth?
And our friend Colleen Casey, who was with us on our river cruise ship with
that's right.
my brother David and his wife Terry and our friend David Dean. Just asked a question for you two. You ready?
Yeah.
Would you rather? I have to read it here because it's too long a question for.
Come in here, Alice.
She has a 13-year-old niece, and her niece watched the show and saw the puppies and saw the dog sled ride, and now she wants to go on an Alaskan cruise next summer. But our friend Colleen was thinking, for a 13-year-old who's never been to New York City, wouldn't that be a great trip too? For a 13-year-old who's never been to New York to go to New York, what would you think would be more fun? As someone who's never been to New York City or never gone to Alaska, what do you think?
To be honest, New York City.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was
Twice. I would
that
not
was
have
a
gone
surprise.
gone with that because there's some sort of intellectual thing with our brains that we never choose the same thing. It naturally occurs.
Wow,
to
so you
all of
both
us.
would say New York City?
No.
Oh, okay.
We never agree to anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, all right. Elizabeth, that's a surprise. I'm
Yeah.
really proud. Yeah,
So there
New
you
York
go,
City's a
Colleen.
great question.
Good friend Colleen asked a great question.
Yeah.
But you did love the puppies, both
That is
of
true.
you. You
Yeah.
loved the puppies,
Yeah.
and the ride was so much fun.
Yeah, be careful over there, sweetheart. There's a lot of
Ellis, everyone's calling you the big fisherman.
yeah, because you caught that big fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
The year
It
passed.
keeps getting bigger. As he gets larger, the fish gets larger.
And then Elizabeth, remember that he caught the fish and he doesn't even eat salmon, but Elizabeth eats her weight in salmon, so she had no problem finishing off almost an entire piece.
Speaking of the puppies, our friend Mark here said he rode in a dog sled driven by the son of the Iditarod's founder. That has to be our guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Robert.
it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that has to be
Yeah,
him.
Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was the grandson.
Oh, so I wonder if his
I
dad
think
maybe.
he was the grandson.
Yeah, he was the grandson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ellis,
But
stay with Ellis.
Yeah, stay away from that,
with
sweetheart,
me.
because that could all be a house of cards
Yeah,
back there.
I mean, I think we kind of answered this, but suggestions for a first-time family cruise. I would say just one. It's kind of one of the things that when we were planning this trip, we had a choice to either go out of Vancouver or Seattle.
That's a great. Yeah.
And they were not the exact same itinerary, but they were similar. There was, there were benefits and negatives to both. But I would say if you're taking a larger group, especially with younger kids, to leave from Seattle, to not have to worry about passports and going to Canada first and do all that kind of stuff, it's just one less thing
layer.
to deal with. I mean, you probably still need passports anyway, but
Wait. Vancouver and Seattle. Vancouver, first initial V. Seattle, first initial S. Vancouver versus Seattle.
Okay, Alice.
Nice. So actually, Ellis just reminded us, we actually stopped in one more stop that we didn't show in this.
Right.
Yeah.
We spent 4 hours in Victoria.
That was
Victoria,
great.
Canada.
And we were like, we need to come back.
Which was beautiful. It was like, we have to come back. And we did. And that'll be our third episode of our new season 7 coming out in a couple weeks. And we had a great time going back to Victoria. But it was being there for 4 hours. Like, we need to come back here. This city is beautiful.
Yeah. It was beautiful. And a beautiful evening to be there.
And a cruise with a water park on top was all the rage.
What?
Any other questions here?
The other thing, just to make one more point, is that on the cruises we've taken, the days at sea, there is so much to do on the ship if you want to do it. There are usually lectures. On our South American cruise, we had geologists, we had botanists, we had all kinds of fabulous historians who would talk to us about cultures and where we were going to be and so forth. So you can learn a lot if you choose to take advantage, and you give wonderful talks.
Oh, thank
your,
you.
Your talk on the Norway cruise was so well attended. And
That's true.
Is this live on YouTube?
It is. It is.
I've been trying to watch it!
Okay.
But yeah, actually, when Samantha does our hosted cruises that we'll be doing with Ama Waterways, you'll do 2 talks.
I do 2 talks, yep.
And they're different talks. So it's not the same talk twice. You break it up. And have
Don't do the same shot. Yep,
two great
exactly.
All
conversations.
viewers, I am going upstairs
All right.
to watch
Okay.
myself.
Bye, Alice.
Bye.
all viewers.
All viewers.
Viewers.
David Dean said he wouldn't recommend a cruise for us, just for a person who didn't know anybody on board. That's just me. Where is he? That's true, David. That is not that's what I say. Like, people are like, oh, why would you cruise? Or who? Like, I like it for big families. I don't, and then you always go with friends.
Right.
Some people go for romantic reasons, like a nice trip. That's not
Well,
not how I would enjoy a
Carolyn's
cruise.
sister told us once they like to go because they meet so many people on the cruise ships.
Okay, all right.
They usually seat you at tables with people.
True,
And,
yeah.
And so they almost prefer to go and have adventure and meet new people.
Bring Ellis back. What was his favorite Christmas gift? I think you just saw it. He held up his Minecraft stuff. He's a big Minecrafter, Jeff. And so anything with Minecraft, and of course he loves clay, and so he has his clay figures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think we're kind of winding down.
Elizabeth,
Yeah. Yeah.
tell me, yell down if you can see me. I'll be doing an NPC Roblox wave.
Okay.
Okay.
It's fine.
Before
This is live.
Yeah, this is live. We kind of knew this was going to happen. If we had demanded they join us for this, they would not have shown up. But
Yeah.
since we didn't tell them to come now, they're of course now there. Hey, Ellis, Colleen Casey. Ellis is a master artist.
He is. Yeah. So Colleen has seen a lot of your clay figures, Ellis. Yeah.
And I got this crafting table for Christmas. Now
Here
I'm
comes
using it
Jeff.
for
Here comes his
all
favorite gift.
sorts of things. Just so you know, this is not a sponsored thing.
I would love to be sponsored by Minecraft.
Yeah. Regina's going on her first solo cruise in November in the Mediterranean. That's cool. So I mean, everyone's got different experiences.
I like that.
Certainly,
Yeah.
we saw at both All America cruises we did recently that there was like singles events that
Right.
if you were on your own, there were events you could go to. They had that kind of thing for you.
Yeah. I think all the cruise lines do that, and it's a great thing. If you
Well,
travel.
it's what you put in is what you get out. So.
And Michelle Osborne saying she's got to get away from her normal friends and find new friends.
Oh my gosh, Michelle, that's the best statement all day. I love that. I love that.
You should have put normal in quotes, my normal friend.
Okay, so what's next week?
Yeah, so,
This is not normally live. It's
okay, Alice.
it's a bit a couple seconds off.
He should have been in
I
bed
might
2 hours ago.
Okay. Well, thinking of next week, Marianne Hansen said happy holidays from Bozeman, Montana, because next week is our episode we did in Big Sky, Montana.
Bye, Baba.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, so that was our Big Sky. Big Sky's next week. Can't wait to talk about that. And
Montana's one of my favorite places in the
and
world.
So next week, I had one other thing saved here. Here it is. Our friend Regina happened to mention season 7.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Whoa.
so this is our I would say this is our last Facebook Live or YouTube Live before we start really talking about the new episodes that'll be airing that week.
Yep.
So for her it starts January 6th, which is a Saturday, something like that. But so season 7, we got 10 all new episodes starting to air. First one is going to be Darwin, Australia. We can't wait. Lots of wild animals, not as wild as that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We've got a fuzzy wuzzy wombat right there.
But yeah, so can't wait to bring that to everyone
only on my head.
next week. So we'll be talking about Darwin a little bit. We'll do some sneak peeks for Darwin.
Oh,
next
should we do
week.
some sneak peeks?
Yeah.
Nice.
And,
I like
and then
that.
we'll go from there for the rest of the year for the episodes that we'll be airing. But yeah, so
Bring it
can't
in.
wait. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Thanks,
Thanks for
everyone.
our special guests, Bob and Carolyn O'Leary. Thank you very much. Thanks for the studio rental.
Yes, exactly.
And we'll be back to my tiny little office next week, I think.
No warm lighting there.
No, and hopefully less
cozy.
kids.
Oh, it was all cozy there.
I know. We love you, Alice. Thank you so
Bye.
much for joining
Bye,
us.
interviewers.
Hey, Happy New Year, everyone. We'll
Yep.
see you
Have
Tuesday.
a holly
We'll see you
jolly
Tuesday.
Christmas and
Thank
a
you.
happy